I'm Sally Edgington, CEO of AXFREM.
And I'm Shurmer, Chairman of AXFREM.
Welcome to today's vlog. This is our first vlog and it's a new series of vlogs that we will be doing throughout 2025. And today's is about our strategic priorities. So we launched the AXFREM strategic priorities in September last year and they run from 2025 to 27, and today we'll be talking a little bit about them and we've been set some questions. We actually launched the strategic priorities with a parliamentary reception in Westminster in the autumn of last year, and we welcomed Baroness Meron, Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State for the Department for Health and Social Care, Tim Farron, MP, who also chairs the All-Party Parliamentary Group for Radiotherapy, Andrea Rockall, who is the President of ECR, as well as Andrew New from NHS Supply Chain, who's the CEO. So we had some really good speakers who were all quite aligned to our strategic priorities. So without further ado, we're going to share with you the first question that we've been set. So who's going to hold that up to the camera for us?
So question number one, why did you decide on the priorities listed in the AXFREM strategic priorities document? I think the first answer there is we didn't decide. I think our members decided. We held a meeting back in September 2023, or summer 2023, where we approached all of our members to come along and ask where the focus, the direction of AXFREM should be over this period of 2025 to 27. And this is what bubbled to the top through that workshop.
Yeah, and to add to that, we are very much a community. So, I'm here as CEO of AXFREM to do and execute what our members want us to. But when we've been deciding on strategic priorities, it's also around all the feedback that we get from some of the different national forums that we sit on, like the National Imaging Board, the Diagnostic Industry Advisory Group, regular meetings we have with the Department of Health and NHS England. So it was a combination of all of that information that also drove us to these strategic priorities, and they are also very aligned with the government agenda as well.
I think it's important to remember as well that as well as the key priorities that we have and that were identified there are some underlying principles and priorities that we have, including things like the patient safety first and foremost, which would always underwrite everything that we do, IT and cyber security. So as well as the active priorities, we've also got some broader principles as well.
Yeah, and just for your reference, in case you haven't seen the document, the strategic priorities that we have, and I'll just very quickly run through them, are patient safety, technology to influence patient outcomes, aligning with NHS priorities, things like reducing waiting times, early diagnosis, influencing future healthcare, increasing our visibility as an organisation with the government, delivering a sustainable future, and working together to secure against and respond to cyber attacks. So I shall hold up the next question, which is, how do you plan to tackle some of the priorities that are listed? So some of the priorities that I've just listed. So if you want, I can start with that. So I would say probably the last priority in terms of cyber attacks. We actually published a paper towards, I think it was the end of the summer in 2024, around cyber security. And we also have a cyber security working group. And we've engaged with external stakeholders like the NHS around some of our concerns around cyber security and how industry has a role to play. So I think that would, we're already tackling it, I suppose is my point there, and we'll be continuing to. We're also launching an Imaging IT manifesto in April at Bletchley Park, the home of code breaking, and in that manifesto there is also a focus around cyber security. So that will obviously be shared with lots of external stakeholders, including government ministers and MPs. Do you want to pick off another one, Hugh?
Yeah, I think I'll take three actually. So if you're looking at the technology to influence patient outcomes, influencing future healthcare and increasing our visibility, then all of these are supported by the fact that our membership is growing so much at the moment. We get this through strengthening them in numbers. When you look at how large AXRM has grown in the last number of years and how broad we've become, we're now punching a very different game. So I think we're able to influence a lot more, be seen as a true influencer, and our message is therefore a lot stronger to those politicians and policymakers.
Yeah, I agree. And just some areas that we have kind of expanded our membership is we're actually, we launched at the back end of last year and recently had our first meeting of the Digital Pathology Special Focus Group. That's an area of real development for us, and we're looking forward to engaging with companies within that space to see what their pinch points and challenges are and what their priorities are. And I'm pretty certain that over the next 6 months we'll probably develop some kind of manifesto or paper around that. We've also been very active with our AI Special Focus Group, and that has obviously been a big area of development. We recently launched our AI manifesto at the RCR AI conference, and we'll be working on different areas around AI. I think if I pick off then delivering our sustainable future, so we've always been very responsible in terms of sustainability, and I'm super proud of all of our members. We are working with the NHS via our Sustainability and Social Value Special Focus Group on the roadmap to net zero, and we have representatives from NHS England's supply chain, some of the societies and Royal Colleges working within our space, so we can have a really collaborative view of sustainability. In September last year we launched our Sustainability Manifesto, and we went on safari at Blean Woods in Kent, and I've got photographic evidence of you in your safari hat, Hugh. And I think that I'm very proud that I feel like we have been sort of leaders in that space, and we've been liaising with lots of other trade associations and sharing best practice of what we've achieved as an association. So yeah, again, I think we're well on our way to achieving that strategic priority.
And I think if we look at the aligning with NHS priorities, we're all aware of the pressures that the NHS are under, both financial, workforce and all the other pressures at the moment. And they are also visible to us in industry as well. And we want to support. I don't think there's a single member within AXRM that doesn't want to support new ways of working, find better ways of being able to do things that help support innovation, help support and alleviate those pressures that the NHS has at the moment. So that's something that all of us in AXRM firmly believe that we can support and help influence and change things for the better within the NHS.
Absolutely. And we're going to go to our final question, which is, which AXRM strategic priorities do you feel will be the most challenging and why? Do you want to start with that one?
Well, very appropriate. I think I'll go for that last one that I spoke about. That's aligning with NHS priorities, and back to the point that the NHS is under a lot of pressure. And when you're looking at trying to make any changes for a system that is under pressure, you are going to add more pressure to it. And what we want to do within AXRM is to help support in a way that doesn't put pressure on a system that is already at breaking point. So I think the most challenging one is going to be the change itself, I think.
Yeah, and I think I'd add to that obviously we had a change of government last year and we've had some really positive engagement with the new government, but ultimately that may bring different priorities. I know that the government mentioned in their manifesto about doubling scanner capacity, and I hope that the government want to interact with us and engage with us on that, because we would be the number one organisation to speak to, because we represent almost 100% of the market for MRI and CT in the UK, so it's a really important engagement for us. But everybody wants to speak to government, so it can be a challenging landscape to get that kind of communication started. I did mention earlier that Baroness Meron had attended our strategic priorities event and seems very supportive of AXRM, so that's been a really positive step in the right direction. But I think certainly here in this year will be one of our priorities as CEO and Chairman, is to really have a robust plan in place to engage with the new government and see how we can help kind of influence, assist, collaborate in any way that we can.
And I think we've made that clear as well, and asking for that in our call to action summary in the back of this document. So it's important that this is both ways as well.
Yeah, so that is the end of this vlog. So thank you very much for joining us. We're going to be doing these vlogs. They're going to be short, snappy ones. So please do join us for a future one. If you want to find out any more about AXREM, you can do that on www.axrem.org.uk. And if you want to read our strategic priorities, you can go into our resource library tab on the website and download your copy. Thanks very much.
Bye.